Hey guys, thanks for joining us today right here on Your Lake Fork Guide. It's another episode of the Guides Network, and we're coming to you from not the water. We're here in the Your Lake Fork Guide garage, also known as the Bass Dojo. And the reason that we're here is because every year at the beginning of August, I take a couple weeks off from guiding to hang out with my kids right before they go back to school. You know, we built this Guides Network playlist a long time ago with the idea of being the best, easiest, and most in-depth place for you to come to learn about bass fishing and for us to help you guys catch more and bigger fish. And along the way, we've had an unbelievable cast of characters from all different skill levels of fishing, from touring professionals to full-time guides to just weekend anglers that have honed a particular craft very well, come on and share their best information, their favorite tip, their favorite technique, and all to help you guys catch more and bigger fish. And it's been unbelievable to see the amount of knowledge that has been shared here on the channel. It's very humbling that I'm involved with this at all, because this is exactly what I dreamed it would be in the beginning. It's just an unbelievable place to come learn about bass fishing. I would highly encourage you to dig deep into the Guides Network playlist. That being said, today what I thought I would do is, you know, top 10, top 5 videos are a big deal. Everybody does top 10 end of year recaps, the best big fish catches of the year, top 10 moments, whatever it may be. So today what I thought I would do is take the top 10 best tips that we've ever featured here on the Your Lake Fork Guide channel. First guy certainly needs no introduction at all. Mr. Justin Rackley, Lake Fork guy, who started his fishing career right here at Lake Fork and has just taken it to heights unimaginable. He's done so much. It's been so awesome to sit here and watch such a good guy succeed and do so well as he has. But hey, behind all that content, behind all that charisma and stuff that comes out on camera, there's a lot of fishing knowledge locked away in that brain. And he spilled a little bit of it for us one day when he was out with me on Lake Fork. So let's check out this tip from Rackley.
But that right there is a elongated shank on that hook, similar to like a swim bait hook, but it's not super heavy. So it's perfect for throwing these lighter baits. It has a built-in weight on the bottom. You can get them in 1/8. I think you can get them a 1/16, and there's one heavier one like that. So they make different ones. But it comes with a screw lock in the front. This is also good because you can get more mileage out of your Senkos, especially. You know, everyone complains about losing Senkos to one fish, but that's normally called like weightless Texas style, so without the bullet weight in front. But you have a weight and it's right there. And what that does is the best thing about it. It not only gives you more casting distance, the bait sinks a little bit better, gives it a really good action. That's the thing. Senkos and flukes and ring fries already have like kind of a shimmy when they go down, but if you add some belly weight instead of having the weight up front, trust me, it's got the right wiggle. It gets them going.
Well, hey, big shout out to Justin. Thanks for coming out with me that day. We had a great time, caught a lot of big fish, and thanks for that tip, because that little hook, that is a legit thing right there. And now we're going to take it over to yours truly with a quick tip on how to be more efficient and more effective with your Alabama rigs.
Especially if you can see the tops of your trees. If your lake's a little low, or if your lake's new and you can see most of your tree tops, what you can do is take just an old belly weighted swim bait hook and rig that on there. And the big deal is you want to make sure that you poke this hook all the way through like this, but you want to make sure that you get it back skin hooked, okay, back in the plastic. And that's a big deal. You don't want that hook exposed to light pressure, but yet when a fish bites it, it pops right out. I just put a little pressure there and it popped out. With this, you can make a slight mistake.
Oh yeah.
You can bump a limb. You can bump the top of a brush pile. You can hit a tree. And the only way it's ever going to hang up is when this deal wedges into a cross member of a branch or a cross member of a dock or something like that. You can actually take this bait when the lake's a little bit low and throw it low and hard, throw it up under docks.
And now we've come to the moment that might be my favorite moment on the channel of all time. Probably my favorite video, simply because this guy is my absolute #1 favorite fisherman on earth today. I got to sit down and talk with Mr. Greg Hackney. Don't need to explain who he is or what he's done, but the fishing knowledge that spilled out of this guy's brain when we were talking was unbelievable. So check a little piece of that out.
Give us 2 or 3 key factors that help you when you get to a massive stretch of grass. What do you look for to kind of target the fish? Where will they be in that needle in the haystack scenario?
It's the same as if you were looking in the lake without any grass. Take the grass out of it. Where should the fish be that time of the year?
Perfect.
And that's the grass that you should be targeting. The grass just soups it up. You know, it'll hold more. Chances are it's more. The grass lake has more fish in a lake without any grass. So you know that. But still, realistically, the fish will be in the same area that they should be for that time of the year, regardless of the grass. The grass just makes it better.
Beautifully said. And that's, I get asked that question a lot down on the floor. How do you know where they are in all this timber? I said, I don't pay any, I don't even think about timber. We pick where we're going to fish. If there was no timber, then we'll fish whatever's there.
That's right.
That's exactly what you're saying. That's perfect. Well,
because more times than not, all those lakes, fork included, the fish are more, it's the bottom that makes the difference.
Struts are not covered.
Yeah, it's not the cover.
They have cover everywhere.
They have cover everywhere. And that's kind of the icing on the cake. The cake is the bottom structure. That's the deal.
What else can I say? One of my personal heroes, one of my favorite fishermen on earth, and what an awesome amount of knowledge that came out in a short amount of time right there. Hey, now let's switch over to my boy, my ace in the hole, my partner in crime, you might say, Mr. Ronnie Kelly, with a great tip on how to make deep cranking easier.
All right, so I'm going to show you guys how I hold the rod. Now, this might not work for you. It might not be comfortable for me, but this is how it works for me. If I'm fishing it from the left side, in other words, I'm not putting my rod all the way down in the water. I'm going to tuck the butt of my rod up under here, and I'm going to full grip that reel. I want to hold that whole reel. Versus if I'm fishing a jig or something, I might hold it like this. I'm going to get a little bit more reel, and I'm going to put it down right here. Okay. Here's the other retrieve. When I'm really concerned about this bait getting to the bottom of the lake, and I really want that bait to get deep, I'm going to put this rod right here up under my titty. You guys see that? I'm going to put it right there, and I'm going to stick this rod tip straight down in the water, and I'm going to walk straight up to the edge of my boat, and I'm going to stick my foot right there. You guys see this? Alright, and I'm going to do just like this.
Leave it up to old Captain Ron to give you a tip that lets you be more lazy while you're fishing. All kidding aside, thanks Ronnie, great tip right there. We know how those deep crankbaits are. Now let's take it over to an old video, one of the very first ones way back in the day, from Mr. John Tanner, a guide here on Lake Fork for a very, very long time. He has since retired, but man, the knowledge this guy has is also unbelievable. And he came out and did a video with us and gave us a great tip on shallow cranking.
All right, now watch my reel. I'm going to lower a little bit. As soon as I hit that grass, I'll snap it and reel at the same time. So what you do, you drop your rod just a little bit. When you pull, you snap, you turn that handle real quick. That pulls some line towards you and snaps that bait clean out of the grass. See there? I just went through a big patch of grass that came through there clean as a whistle. Now, a lot of times when you do that, there's a fish sitting in that grass. Now watch my hands again. All right, as soon as you hit that grass, just pop it and see how I burn that handle and snap the rod at the same time. Make that bait jump out of there, and man, that fish, bam, they'll react to it. Next thing they know, they got a crankbait in the mouth. Next thing you know, you're reeling into the boat. So that's pretty good.
Hey John, thanks so much for that tip, man. That is an awesome tip right there. Switch back over to me real quick, guys. We're going to talk about one of my favorite techniques, a quick tip on wintertime jig fishing.
All right, so where I'm positioned right here, I got a creek bend directly out in front of me where I can hit the outside bend. Once that jig is all the way on the bottom, I'm just going to start dragging real slow. Okay, and that's going to help. Like right now, I can already feel some resistance of a tree or a root system or something. So I'm going to continue to drag. There it is. Okay, just hopped over. So what you do right there, I drug it up to that root system. It kind of caught on a little bit, and then when it popped, I immediately fed it slack so that the bait will fall straight down into the root system. And that's exactly what you want, guys. These fish are hugged up down in those root systems, and so you want that jig to catch that root, fall, and go straight down into their face. And it's actually, you get pretty hard bites doing this. It's actually kind of a reaction bite. They're sitting down there cold in them roots, and that jig goes zipping down in there, and that's why we use a 1/2 ounce or bigger jig. I use a 1/2 ounce almost all the time. Every once in a while I'll even step up to a 3/4, but we always use a 1/2 ounce or bigger jig, and the reason why is because it's actually kind of a reaction bite. That jig goes zipping down into that root system after you crawled it over it, and man, that fish, he just snaps at it, and they hit it pretty hard.
All right, now let's take it to Mr. Heath Taylor. In my opinion, one of the best bait makers on earth. He's kind of under the radar, smaller company, one-man operation so to speak. But this guy makes some of the best baits, especially swim baits, that exist on planet Earth. Here's some tips from him on how to make your own plastics.
In different molds, I'll stop it at different spots. Like this one, I've got a spot that I stop it at. A little bit different than I do like the convict and stuff. And this one I actually tilt the mold a little, and it helps it flow into the fins.
Because it comes clear, so how do you add the color?
You basically have several different kinds of colorants. You have powder colorants, you have liquid colorants, you have glitter. So there's tons of different ways that you can add the colors. Like I said, doing it this way is a constant juggle with microwaves, because you got to keep everything hot. You got to, you know, if you don't do it at a certain temperature, do it too early, the colors will mix together. Do it too late, they won't bond together. So it's a big timing deal.
So you checking temp?
Yeah, basically you check
what's
temperature.
What's your target temp?
You want it to be around 350. All right, then we add our accent color.
That's our little blue stripe down the middle of the light hitch.
And
that is a fine process there.
Like I said, you've got to have a fairly steady hand.
So now we're letting that middle layer kind of cool off.
Yeah, you gotta let the middle layer cool. Like I said,
if you do it too early, it just blends together.
If you do any of these too early, like I said, you'll just your middle color will just wash out, and you won't be able to see it. And the belly color will come up actually to the top. So, like I said, it's not. You know, a lot of people think it's just, you know, pouring plastic in a mold.
A little different.
There's more to it. So these still are real hot. Like I said, basically you can see all the undercut scales in there.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
Like I said, see the line still defined on the three colors. So basically what I like to do, just to kind of speed up the process, I'll dump them in a big tub of water.
Heath, thanks so much for everything that you always do for the channel, including tips, just like that one, of which you have provided a bunch. You are the man, sir. Now we're going back to my boy, old Captain Ron. This sucker right here might be the best guy I know with this bait in his hand. So check out a little quick tip on the jerkbait.
This is probably the most important part of jerkbait fishing. When I twitch my rod tip, I don't want my rod tip to be in contact with the bait to where it pulls that bait. I'm gonna take my rod tip after I've reeled it 5 or 6 times, and I'm gonna pull that bait right there, and then I'm gonna start my twitch. Now, I'm gonna use a real erratic action. I'm gonna pause the bait, and when you're pausing the bait, the fish are gonna kind of let you know what to do. If the water's real close to the 40s, that 45 to 48 degree water, you're gonna need to let it sit for, you know, 7, 8, 10 seconds, even longer at times. The warmer the water, generally the less you have to let it sit. So I've got my slack pulled into the line. Now, if you guys can see this, I'm gonna focus on twitching the slack. Now, on the particular retrieves that I'm gonna throw, I don't throw a steady cadence. I throw a little bit more of an erratic motion. I'm gonna get my cast out there, get my 5 or 6 reels, pull the bait to me, and I might do 3 twitches and 1, 2, and let it sit. And watch my line. And a lot of times when the water's cold, the bass will come up, grab it, and all you'll see is your line coming out. Let it sit. And if you guys will notice the way it's working, I'm not actually pulling the bait. And when I say not pulling the bait, this would be pulling the bait. I'm not. I'm gonna pull that slack out and work that slack. It doesn't look like I'm doing a lot, but it's doing a whole lot. In fact, it's doing twice as much that it would if you pulled the bait.
And now we're going over to my other PIC, Mr. Z-Dub. Now, Z-Dub's just a weekend fisherman, but he absolutely is the best fisherman I know with a wacky worm in his hand. So y'all listen to old Z-Dub about the whack right now.
If you're trying to hit the base of a stump or a hole in some duckweed, you can certainly flip it out there. There is plenty of weight on a wacky worm. Look at that.
It catches a lot of fish too, doesn't it, ZW?
Like I said.
Look how you ate it. That's so.
Hey, you think they don't like that wacky worm, baby? They will get it all the way in there. Cast it out there, give it a good 3 or 4 count, depending on the depth of water you're fishing. What I like to do is just reel the slack up, okay, to where it's not quite taut, but almost, and I just give it a good 2 or 3 pops right there. What that bait's doing is it's coming up like this, and then slowly falling back down to the bottom head first, okay? Same thing, boom, 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 okay? Now, one thing you really need to pay attention to when you are wacky worm fishing is that, you know, you're not always gonna feel the bites. A lot of times, right before you give it that good 2 or 3 pops, when you reel in that slack, you'll feel some tension on that line, okay? Just give it a little bit of tension and you can feel that fish pulling back, or you can see your line running right or left.
Z-Dub, again, you do so much for the channel, helping me produce content, helping me with everything that you do, man. Thank you so much for all of that, including the tips that you give us here, especially on that old wacky worm. All right, now for the final tip. Here's a quick version of a tip I did on how to identify different species of bass using your electronics. In general, I found for around here in East Texas now, all the other species, for the most part, the yellow bass, the white bass, the crappie, they will all tend to get almost kind of intermingled. Their arcs will blend together, whereas the bass will have more separation. And they have a general shape to the school most of the time. Now, this is no hard and fast rule. There's exceptions to every rule in bass fishing. But most of the time, your yellow bass will be like carpet across the bottom like this right here. Your sand bass will be like carpet, just be a little bit taller. Shag carpet, you might say. Your crappie will be more in a, almost, you know, crappie like to stack up in trees. Well, even when they're not in a tree, they tend to stack up like a tree. You'll see crappie stack vertically a lot. And sand bass can stack vertically at times too. But the big key factor is all of these, when you look on your 2D sonar, on these species of fish, the arcs will be intermingled. They'll be mixed together where you can't see one arc, one arc, one arc, and the separation in between. Whereas your largemouth bass, moreover especially your big largemouth bass, will tend to have separation in their arcs. All right, guys, that's the end of it, man. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I know a lot of these tips that I've gotten from these other guys have certainly helped me catch more fish. I hope all these tips help you catch more and bigger fish, because at the end of the day, what this channel has always been about, and what it will always remain about at the end of the day, is loving your fellow man and helping others catch more and bigger fish. That is what we are about. That is everything we stand for, and that is everything that we strive to achieve in everything that we do, be it on a guide trip, be it through an app that we make as affordable as we can, or be it through these tips that we offer up for free, just because we love what we do and want you guys to enjoy it as much as we do. So hey, thank you guys so much for watching today. Thank you guys for watching every time that you do. I know most of you guys, we have a very loyal following. We don't have the biggest fan base, but we do have the best fan base. That's what we always say, and we mean it. And I know you guys watch all the time, and I can't thank you enough. It means so much to me when you guys come up and talk to me, when I meet you on the water, you come up and say hi, when I meet you at the marinas, at the gas station, wherever it may be. I played in a golf tournament with somebody who watched the channel the other day. I went to a golf tournament and got randomly paired up with a viewer of the channel, and that was just unbelievable to me. It's so amazing where this started, where it is now, and I can't imagine where it's going to be in a couple more years. So thank you guys for everything y'all do. I can't say it enough. I'll keep trying, but we'll see you guys next time right here on your Lake Fork Guy.